welcome. So glad you could be here. I'll put my rice cake down. Oh, look, I'm surprised, even though I'm the one who just turned on the camera in the first place. Oh, you surprised me. Okay, so today, oh, what session are we on? 4? Yeah, 4. We're on session 4 of script writing. I'm Marianne Scadden, in case you didn't know that. All right, so we're going to talk about the actual physical stuff of writing, okay? For instance, where do you like to write? Your desk. I happen to have a lap desk that I can just put in my lap, and that way I can just write. Maybe you like to write outside. Maybe you have a picnic table that you like to be at. Maybe you just want to be outside. I don't know. You might want to do it with a paper and maybe your favorite pencil or maybe your favorite gel pen. However you like to do it, that one. You can write, paper and pencil, that's fine. Paper and pen, paper and crayon. However you want to write it, do it. I prefer on my computer because I like to change things a lot and then go back and switch things out, but that doesn't mean I haven't done it on paper because there's many times that I'm thinking of ideas and I get all of that on paper too. Maybe you have your lucky hat that you must always wear when you are writing, or maybe you have your dragon figurine that you have to have next to you whenever you're writing, or maybe you have your stuffy that you've got to have next to you as you're writing. Whatever floats your boat, as they say, or if you want a notebook or paper on a clipboard, that works too. Then you need to know, though, at some point in time, you need to write or type it clearly and neatly so that you can read it and so that the people who are helping you to perform it can easily read it. It also means you're going to have to try not to do misspellings. So you've got to get the spellings right on the spelling right on all of your words. All right. So I want to tell you a couple more things besides those two things about the what and the where, and then of course write it, type it clearly. No narrators. If you can possibly help it, don't do a narrator, because if you can figure out a way to not have a narrator come in and say, and time passed. No telling the story. I've seen that where the narrator tells half the story, the people come in, they say 2 things, and then they leave again, and the narrator starts telling the story again. No. Something like, I can see the narrator coming out. 3 years ago, Miss Chicken took a cooking class. And then you have Miss Chicken coming out. Oh, I'm so glad I took that cooking class 3 years ago. I'm going to bake something now. We don't need narrator to say 3 years ago, because Miss Chicken can say it when she comes out. Oh, I love that. Now, where did I put my notes from that class I took 3 years ago? See, the 3 years gets in there. You don't have to have a narrator. Don't do it if you can possibly help it. Now, if you've been watching my other videos, in fact, was it the last one? I think I mentioned that I had narrators. Well, let me tell you, yes, narrators, as long as they are part of the story, not just there to, I will now tell you a tale, and I'll talk and blather on, and I'm going to say almost everything. Oh, now I'll wait while the one actor comes out and says, golly gee whiz, Marge. And now, after Marge heard her name, she had to say something to Kendall over here. What do you want, Kendall? No, don't do a narrator like that. On the other hand, can the narrator fit in and have some great lines in there? Let me show you what I mean. I mentioned to you that in my Treasure Island script, I have a narrator her character, or his character, it happened to be a girl who performed it for me once. But her character, I keep saying that, his character, her character, doesn't matter. Polly Narrator was this character's name. And Polly comes out and speaks to the audience at the very beginning of the show. And this is what Polly Narrator says. Avast there! Afore we can present our little presentation, we must have a disclaimer. This presentation of Treasure Island is based on the book by Robert Louis Stevenson. Do you know what it means when a performance is said to be based on the book? Not much, that's what. Oh, it might have some of the same names, maybe a few of the same events, but usually not much like the book at all. So I'm here to declare that if you want the real version of Treasure Island, read the book. And so Polly Narrator then exits. So she kind of introduces the show, and I'm sorry, I love that because that's how I feel with a lot of the movies and the plays. Oh, do you know what it means to be based on the book? That's not the book I read. Now, that doesn't mean I don't enjoy the movies or the plays. It's just that's not the book I read. Okay, so then Polly comes back in a little bit later, and you've got Billy singing 15 men on a dead man's chest, yo-ho-ho, and a bottle of rum. Drink and the devil had done for the rest, yo-ho-ho, and a bottle of rum. And some of the other people in the Admiral Benbow tell him to quit, and he sings it again. And then he freezes. Everybody freezes. Now Polly has become some of the extra people in the Admiral Benbow Inn. And Polly comes down to talk to the audience again. We interrupt this program to fill you in on a minor detail. Robert Louis Stevenson did not write any other words to this song, nor a tune. You know, there's the tune, I'm sure you've heard it. I think it's on Disney or something. I don't remember. But that tune, I can't use in this because that tune is copyrighted. So I had to come up with my own tune. Do I remember what it was? Nope, not at all right now. I'm sure it's written somewhere. But that's what Polly comes out and says. Did not write any other words to this song, nor a tune. It's just the one verse. Annoying, isn't it? So again, my Polly character is part of the whole play. Polly actually comes back in as the parakeet. That's why the character is named Polly. You know, like Polly wants a cracker. The parrot is called Captain Flint. So Polly Narrator comes back in as an actual character. So that was a fun narrator to do. Another narrator that I added in The Legend of Annie Christmas was actually 4 people, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 people. I called them, Annie Christmas is a tall tale about a woman from New Orleans. She was a keelboat hauler. She would haul things in the keelboat up and down the Mississippi River. In this play, I'll get it right one of these days, I have the New Orleans Strollers, and they're kind of, sort of, my narrators. But again, they're characters. And they have a lot of personality. At the very beginning, they come in, and together they say, New Orleans, a city with, and one at a time, one person says, flavor, flair, character, and Annie Christmas. They're also the singers. They join in when everybody else is singing. Then, later on, there are some bullies. And Annie Christmas, the legend is that she liked decent folk. But when there were bullies, she beat them up. And she would add a pearl to her necklace for every bully that she got out of there. So there's a bunch of bullies, and they're about to beat up or steal from a couple that are there on the docks waiting. And then the strollers come in. As one of the bullies says, "You're about to be had." And the strollers enter. All four of them say, "Highly unlikely." And then they surround the strollers. One of the bullies says, "I'm sure they're too proud to want to be with the likes of us." "You've got that right," says one of the strollers. "I think this man is too big for his britches." "No, I think you're too big for yours." "Oh, we've got a couple of brave men." Then another stroller, who's female, says, "Perhaps you should move along before things get dangerous." "Dangerous, little lady? We seem to have a brave woman, too." And the other stroller says, "Is it time to let them in on our secret? These shrimps are beginning to bug me with their attitudes." And the strollers go over to the two who are being harassed by these bullies. And two of the strollers say, "You'll want to know this secret, too." The other two say, "If you're bothered by this crew." And then, of course, the bullies are not liking, "What are you talking about?" "You'll like our secret, we know you will. Once you hear it, what a thrill." One of the bullies says, "Abbott, they're talking in rhyme." And the bullies say things, and then the strollers again, "No need to run, don't play their game. Listen as we yell this name. Annie Christmas!" And so they get Annie Christmas to come on. And then later on, when there's a little part in here, there it is, they come on to talk about, again, they're still part of the whole show. They've come on as extras, as it were. And then they come in and talk about the Mississippi River. "Ah, the Mississippi River, father of waters, over 2,000 miles long, in some areas almost 4 miles wide. And Annie is here." So it's just really cool to be able to add those little touches about the Mississippi River with a narrator, but in a fun way. So no, don't do a narrator just to do a narrator. Oh, and time passes. But if you want to do a narrator who's actually part of the show and has a great fun with it, and can be part of it, not just as the narrator, but as some of the extra people in the extras in the other scenes, then great. All right. Now, I need to talk about storyline. You need a beginning, you need a middle, and you need an end. And of course, that's like, well, no duh. Well, here's the deal. That middle part, that is the problem. You have to have a problem or an obstacle. In the first part, you introduce some of your characters, like what I did with Annie Christmas, and Treasure Island. I don't even know what I did there. Okay, so at that point, things are happening, and as things are happening, you get introduced to some of the characters in the play. It may be a little bit later that some of the other characters come into play. Like in Treasure Island, Long John Silver doesn't come right away. The pirates are on pretty quick. Okay, so that's your beginning. Kind of an introduce, set up the scene. But through action. They shouldn't just be sitting like I'm sitting, doing nothing except talking, okay? They need to be doing something. In Treasure Island, Jim is coming in and he's trying to clean up real fast. And then his mom is finishing up and going, okay, let's open the Admiral Bimbo, and then people come in. And then the middle is the build-up to the problem. So in Treasure Island, there's the pirates who are coming in. We've got that problem going on, and Jim Hawkins manages to get the map and get out of there with it. And then it's a trip to the island, and there's no treasure, and oh my goodness, what are we going to do? Anyway, and then the end is the wrap-up. The problem is solved. Try to do it so that your main character is the one solving that problem. or coming up with a solution and having other people help to solve that problem. Sometimes you might want to outline it, and let me show you what I've got here. I mentioned in one of my other ones, it's elementary, and I ended up with ideas, and I took those ideas and then had to figure out what did I want to use and what was too much. I'm looking back here because I'm trying to figure out what on earth did I do back here. Was there more ideas? Well, I don't know about more there, but there's a lot here and a lot here. And so you see, I do a lot of handwriting too. And this was one of the fun things is with It's Elementary. It was a mystery, right? A mini musical as well. And I was trying to name my characters. What do I name my characters? So I went to books of detectives in books. For instance, you might know Leroy Encyclopedia Brown. Or I actually ended up circling the ones that I used. I have my Encyclopedia Brown. His name was the character's name, and it didn't have to be a girl or a boy on this one. I named my character Brainy Brune. And then Nancy Drew in my book became Nanette Draw. And then we had Frank and Joe Hardy from the Hardy Boys. And I had Franklin Party and Joseph Party. Anyway, you know, sometimes names, even names, you get inspired by some of it, and sometimes it takes a long time to get all of this down. I mean, look at all of this. First of all, I had to figure it out, and I typed it up for myself, and then I had to figure out, but which one? And what do I name them? And then I had, there was one book that was Ruby Redford, and I ended up calling her Ruby Rosehedge. And, oh, you guys remember the Tintin, or do you? The Adventures of Tintin was a movie, but it was a French comic book, and he was actually a journalist, but he would always solve mysteries. And so I have one kid whose name is Foyle in there. So instead of 10, he's Foyle. I ended up with Carly Can from the detective Charlie Chan, and I ended up with De French was one character's name, after Inspector Clouseau, and Poirot from some Agatha Christie books. Okay. Anyway, you get it. And I just had, okay, where do I want songs? There has to be a song about I'm a detective, and that got in there. And there's all my writing all over. Now, why on earth am I showing you all the writing? First of all, I started with, you need to outline, and that's what I did. I took my ideas and went, okay, this fits into this is the beginning, where do I want the middle, what do I want to have happen, where do I want them to come from, and how are they going to get the clues, and then how do we wrap it all up, and so that's how that goes. I ended up with all of my different notes that I had, and here is the second thing I want to tell you. We went through the outline, right? Well, here's the deal. Keep your notes. As you write, you need to keep your different versions. When I write, I keep my different versions of it on computer. Make sure you have a file or a notebook, like with my, if I can get this in here, I won't bother. With my pages, I put it in a sheet protector, and then I put it in a notebook, okay? So that's one thing you guys can do. If you are doing it on a computer, keep it in your writing file or your scripts file. My writing file is very big. I have scripts. And in the scripts, I have a file for murder mysteries. I have a file for children to perform, children to see, monologues, my radio scripts. I mean, yeah. So keep your stuff. Keep it. Keep your writing and your notes. You might be able to go back to that. As I change things on my scripts, there will be times that it's like, I am changing this too much. I'm going to save this as version 2 or version 3 or version 4 or something like that. Okay, guys. It is so time to be off. But here's your writing practice. I want you to make a 3-person short. So this is a little script with 3 people in it. And I'm going to give you some words. You can choose 1 or 2 or all 3. And it figures I don't have my stuff near me. So my husband, on the other hand, is near me. Hey, you! Give me a noun. No, give me a setting.
The Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower, that's word 1. Use it or don't use it, as you wish. Give me a person.
Race car driver.
Race car driver. Okay, that's your second word. Well, those are 2 words together. Okay, now give me an object.
An acorn.
Acorn. Okay, so those are your 3 writing prompts. Eiffel Tower, race car driver, acorn. Use 1, use 2, use all 3. Use none. If you have something that has inspired you today and you're going, oh my goodness, I am so going to write that. Write that. The one that you really want to write, write. If you can't think of something, then you write from the prompts that I just gave you. And most importantly, go have fun. Don't forget, put your rear in the chair. All right. Talk to you later.